Hello, traders. This is Dave again from the Compass Options Trading Room and the Text Alert Service. And it's going to be another video on the SPY Super System, trade of the day. I've done a few of these now. Just going over this particular setup we use to trade the SPY, the Qs, and the IWM, the indexes, on intraday trade, 5-minute charts, very quick trades, and we'll go ahead and get into that. So again, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Dave Wise, and I'm with the Compass Options Text Alert Service and a live trading room. I have a live trading room every day from market open to market close, where we do a lot of trading. We do a lot of swing type trades, short-term intraday trades, and we also do what's called the SPY Super System, which we're going to cover here tonight. All right, so this is a SPY Super System intraday trading. This is all intraday trades. I use a piece of software called the Compass Option System, which basically is a piece of software that I run on thinkorswim that identifies when institutions are in the trades and when they're not. And I'll show you all the criteria I use off of that system to do these SPY Super Systems, and I'll show you some of the trades we've taken. All right, first thing I have to do, of course, is the disclaimer. All signals and trading opportunities we provide are for educational and demonstration purposes only. Trading is very risky, so you should never trade with more money than you can afford to lose. And neither myself or Right Line Trading are licensed financial advisors, so we won't be giving financial advice. All right, so again, this is just kind of a graphic of the alert service that I have. I send out high probability trade setups that we take in the room, and I also send them out alerts, so you can get these alerted to you on your phone very quickly. It'll take about 15 seconds from the time I post it. And in the room itself, as well as the alerts, I have a couple of rules to trade by. We trade the best and skip the rest. This is really important. It sounds simple. It's not. We trade the best and skip the rest. And also, our objective is not to make trades. Our objective is to make money. So we only look for the very high probability trades, highest probability trade setups. We don't just take trades to take trades. And I know this sounds fairly basic, but a lot of traders will take trades just because they feel like they're a trader and they need to have something on all the time. And a lot of times not taking a trade is a much better trade than taking a trade. Okay, we need an edge as a profitable trader. We're trading against other retail traders. edges, we use the Right Line Compass system to tell us if institutions are in the trade. We also trade relative strength and relative weakness. That doesn't mean RSI, that means how the stock is performing versus the S&P 500, the other SPY. SPY is moving sideways and down, stock's moving up, it's got relative strength, and vice versa. And we try to trade with the market trend if there is a trend, and we try to buy as near support and sell close to resistance as possible, so we don't have a long way to drop if it goes against us to any kind of support or resistance level. That's specifically true for the SPY Super System that we're going to talk about. And it's very important to understand, I'll just do this quickly, but I do this on every webinar. The market is made up of retail traders like myself and most of the folks listening to this, I assume. These are the small marbles that represent retail traders, and the big marble is the institutions. When the retail traders are in a trade and the institutions are not in a trade, the retail traders can't do anything except cause chaos and chop. That's what you get. So we don't want to be in there when the other retail traders are in there. We want to be in there when the institutions are in there. This is the investment banks, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, HSBC. They have trading desks. They also have algos, computerized systems, computer system programs that trade about 80% of the volume that goes through the market. But the institutions are also made up of pension funds, big, huge pension funds, hundreds of hedge funds with billions of dollars to trade, as well as mutual funds, first such as Vanguard and T. Rowe Price, all the big mutual funds. And this is what we're trying to identify when we take a trade. We want to identify when the institutions are in the trade. The Compass system allows us to do that. Okay, also it's important to understand the algos, by the way, have taken over the market, and those are the computer software programs that are being produced and traded from the institutions. We don't want to fight them, we want to join them. So that's why we look for high probability trade setups. And these algos also have programs in there that they know what retail traders use. Retail traders using a MACD crossover, they can program it to identify a MACD crossover. make it look like the MACD crossover is going to work, and then the algos come in and slam it right back down again, and you wonder what happened. So that's important to understand that, why it's so critical to understand what the institutions are doing. All right, and again, this is just kind of a quick view of the compass system, and I'll show you the compass system here in a minute. But it does identify the highest probability setups while allowing us to sidestep the trades that look good but are going to fail more often than they succeed. We do this by identifying when the institutions are driving the move and when they're not. And the compass system analyzes complex trading data and displays the results in easily identifiable visual format. And you'll see that in a little bit, why the compass system makes it so easy, even for new traders, to identify bullish and bearish setups and when institutions are in the trades and when they're not. All right, so the indicators that we're going to be looking at for the SPY super system, we're going to be trading either the SPYs, the Qs, or the IWM. Those are the three that I focus on. We're going to be looking at one of our indicators called the current time frame momentum, which changes color. If the institutions are going from buying to selling or selling to buying, it'll change color on the 5-minute frame, and you can see when that occurs. We're also going to be using the VWAP, or the volume weighted average price. This is a very key support resistance level that all the institutions use. So we'll be trading a price above the VWAP for longs and below the VWAP for shorts, and it's going to be one of the levels that we use for our support or resistance. We're also going to be using the 15 EMA of an EMA. This is a smooth 15 EMA. This will become also a support and resistance level that we can use if the price has gotten fairly far above or fairly far below the VWAP. But those are the two support or resistance levels that we use for the SPY super system. We're only going to take trades when the price is coming up through those or going down through those. And then we also have another pin called a pivot point, which is a white line that's on the chart. This becomes a support and resistance level. I don't trade off of it, but I do need to know about it so I know how much room I've got when I get into a trade to where I'm going to have to likely take it off because it's going to offer me support or resistance to the trade. Right, so those are the indicators that we're going to be using, and I'll show you through them on the chart. One of the things to understand, as I said here, the current time frame momentum is one of our key indicators. And it's important to understand what momentum is. It's critical in determining if institutions are in a trade or not. And I think a lot of traders don't understand what constitutes momentum. And it's not like just because the stock's going up and you're getting a bunch of green candles in a row, that doesn't mean that it's got momentum. Momentum is very specific criteria for momentum. And that's what the compass system is going to identify. So what is momentum really? Well, this is just kind of a quick graphic. This would be a momentum to the upside right here. Now these are graphics of candlesticks. The open is the black down here. This is the high, the top, and this is the close of the candle. All right. So the next one, you've got the open, high, close. The way that institutions create momentum and how we identify momentum is the close of the candle gets closer and closer to the high of the candle. You see how that's marching up? This tells us that there's actually institutions pushing these candles up. So these green candles have specifically got closes that get closer and closer to the high of the candle. That's upside momentum right there. Downside momentum, of course, is just the opposite. As the stock goes down, you've got your open here, your low here, and here's your close. So the stock price or the closing price is closer and closer to the bottom of the candle or the low of the candle. That is deceleration or momentum to the downside. So that's what we're measuring when we're measuring momentum, right? So this is really important because a lot of times you can have some candles that look like they have momentum and they don't really have momentum, at least not according to this, which is what this is what the institutions create when they're driving a trade. Right, so the setup criteria for the SPY super system, this is the setup criteria. We're going to be looking at, again, I said, the SPYs, the Qs, and the IWM. So we're going to trade the strongest index on an up day and trade the weakest index on a down day. This is fairly general, but if we've got a bullish market trend and we're looking at the SPYs, the Qs, and the IWM, the one that likely we're going to trade will be the one that's up the most for the day, biggest percentage gain. You have to take into consideration where the next resistance level is going up. But if all things being equal, you're going to take the index that's the strongest for the day. And on the way down, if you're taking it short, you're going to take the one that's the weakest for the day. We also look for when the current momentum indicator changes from red to yellow, which is bearish, to blue or green, which is bullish. You take that for a long, and I'll show you some charts, and this will become very clear when you see that. You're going to enter a current momentum, enter when the current momentum indicator changes from blue or green to yellow or red for short. It's just the opposite. It goes from red or yellow to blue or green for long, and from blue or green to yellow or red for short. So this is going from selling to buying. This is going from buying to selling. If going long, the index should be up for the day. Now this isn't 100% accurate. We do want to trade to the long side. If you get the SPY and it's up, 0.5% or 1%, typically you're going to want to trade it long. But it is possible to take counter trend trades in these things, and that would be a case as if the stock is fallen down, it's still green for the day, it's below the VWAP, but it's bouncing off the 15 EMA, for example, and it's got a lot of runway between the low where it's at right now and the VWAP. In other words, it's likely to head up toward the VWAP. Then you can take a counter trend trade on that. And I do these all the time, but it's the strongest ones would be if you were trading with the trend. So same thing on the going short. The index should be down for the day, but you can also counter trend these if you've got the setup correct. And again, the stock price should be above the VWAP for long and below the VWAP for short. In any case, so that holds true. Okay, so the best setups here, again, what I just said here, I'm going to trade the strongest index on an up day and the weakest index on a down day. Again, we'll be looking for color changes in the momentum indicators. And again, we're just going to go long. Index should be up for the day and short if it's down for the day. All right, so that just repeats what I just said over in the previous page. So we have there's two really good long setups and two really good short setups. Now, the two high probability setups that we traded for longs, you're going to take the strongest bullish index for going long. The price should be moving up through the VWAP or coming down and bouncing off the VWAP after a pullback. In other words, it's going to be breaking through the VWAP and the VWAP's resistance, and it's breaking through on an uptrend. Or it's coming down when it's been in an uptrend, it comes down, bounces off the VWAP after a pullback, and then heads back up in the original direction. Those are the two ways that you would trade off of the VWAP. And when that happens, the current momentum indicator must be blue or green. All right, now it could have just turned blue or green in that candle. If it does turn just blue or green on that candle, as I'll show you, that means you're catching it right early on. All right, but you do want it to be bullish. We want the institutions, this blue or green color on the current time frame momentum tells us that the institutions are in this trade. And again, the strongest bullish index, the second setup would be the price moving up through the 15 EMA or bouncing off the 15 EMA after a pullback, exactly the same as a VWAP, except we're using the 15 EMA, and the current momentum indicator must be blue or green. All right, so these are the two long setups that we look for. All right, and we look for them in all three indexes. The best entries for shorts are going to be, obviously, it's going to be exactly the opposite. We're going to take the weakest bearish index, the index is down the most for the day. We want the price moving down through the VWAP, moving from above the VWAP to below the VWAP, or bouncing off the VWAP after a move up. So in other words, if the stock has gone down through the VWAP, comes up to the VWAP, and the stock is bearish, and then heads back down again, it reverses. In other words, it reverses off the VWAP to the downside. You confirm that it's heading back down again. That would be your entry for a short. And the current momentum indicator must be yellow or red. Again, it could have just turned yellow or red, but that's telling us that the institutions are selling. And I'm going to you'll see some examples of it here in just a minute. The weakest bearish index also we use the 15 EMA instead of the VWAP. If it's away from the VWAP but you're close to the 15 EMA, that can become your support or resistance level. You want the price moving down through the 15 EMA or bouncing off the 15 EMA after a move up to it and then heading back down again. And the current momentum indicator must be yellow or red. So these are the bearish setups right here. Okay. Now, this is, we're going to look at the some trades here. This is one I did. I've got a few of them on here. This is one I did on the 9th of August. And on here, I put the indicators that I use. Now, this looks pretty busy. This is the compass system. We've got multiple indicators here. This is a multi-time frame momentum. This is a current time frame momentum. This is a long-term trend, and this is a derivation of money flow. But the only indicator we're going to use for the SPY super system is this one right here. This is the current time frame momentum that this arrow is pointing to. And you see the color changes here, okay? This is bullish is blue, bearish is red. Bullish is also green, and then yellow is back to bearish again. So this is the indicator that we're looking for it to change colors or to be the color. We want it to be green or blue for long, red or yellow for short. So that's the current time frame momentum. So that's a key. Another thing, the other key is this VWAP. This is the volume weighted average price, this pink line that I've got identified. That's the VWAP. And the green one here is the 15 EMA. So these are my two support and resistance levels that are critical. I need to look for the stock price, in this case, moving up through it. Now, if you see where I've got this identified on this entry right here, you see how the current time frame momentum, this one here goes from red, institutions selling, to blue, institutions buying. All right, so that was the color change that I was looking for. So I now have institutions buying. I can be bullish. The stock is breaking up through the VWAP. You see the VWAP right there, the pink line? There's the arrow. You see how it's moving up through it? Now the compass system also puts this pink arrow in there. This is called a pop out of the box signal. This tells you when a stock is breaking compression. So this stock is not only going above the VWAP with the institutions buying, but it's also breaking out of compression. So this was my entry on this trade. It's a perfect setup for a SPY super system setup. I mean, just absolutely perfect. Going from selling to buying with the VWAP right here, the stock going through the VWAP, it's above it now, it's bullish, and I've got a pop out of the box signal telling me that the compression is being broken. We enter the trade here and we ride this trade up. And you notice this, the current time frame momentum stays blue and green all during this trade. So it stays bullish, and you see it's moving up. Now it's gotten away from the VWAP, but it's following the 15. So we just ride this thing up. It keeps going up. It keeps going up. It's getting a little extended here, but this is where I exit the trade right here on this candle. In other words, I start to get wicks and tails on this, and it's starting to slow. The momentum's starting to slow. It's kind of extended from the 15 EMA. This is where I got out of the trade. And you can see this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 candles, that's all. All right, 13 candles. So about an hour or so. In this particular trade, one contract on the SPY, the S&P 500, taking a SPY contract, one contract produced $220 profit per contract. All right, on this one trade right here. And hopefully you can see how clear this setup is for this trade. And once you've used this a little bit, and once you see it, I call these out in the room during the day. I'm always looking for them during the day. We've got a lot of people in the room who want to do this. I haven't really only been doing them in the room for a couple of months because I didn't really think a lot of people wanted to do these kind of quick trades on indexes, but a lot of people do. I've had quite an awful lot of people who want to do this, so we look for them all day long in the room. We're also taking swing trades and shorter term trades, intraday trades, but these are the index trades I look for. And they usually set up 2 to 3, 4, 5 times a day. Just depends on the market. All right, so there's our first trade we'll look at. Now I'm going to look at this one. This was on 8/23 for the SPY super system. All right, now on here, the pink line's the VWAP. Remember, the pink line's the VWAP. Here's our current time frame momentum. You see right here, it's already yellow, which is bearish. It was green before, but it's yellow here. And what I'm looking for is a break below the VWAP. See the break below the VWAP right here? It breaks down below the VWAP. And this is where I entered this trade right here on a break below the VWAP. Now the 15 is this little green line that went red. That's the 15 EMA. So I'd like the thing to stay below that 15 EMA all the way through here. And you see it does. And I just follow this down. I follow this down. I was in this trade for quite a while. But notice the current time frame momentum is staying red the whole way. Institutions are selling this thing. Momentum is bearish. The stock price is moving down. It's popping and bouncing against the 15, but the 15 is sloping down, remember. So I stay in this, I stay in this, I stay in this. It moves down through this pivot point. I was watching this very carefully to make sure that it didn't bounce off the pivot point and head back up, which it didn't. And then it flushes down right here, and then we get out right here. All right, so that was probably an hour-and-a-half trade. $280 profit per contract on one of these. So you can take, if you have 5 contracts, that's going to be almost $1,500. 10 contracts, about $2,800. But that's a perfect setup. And again, we have to wait for these and we look for these. But notice that we're bearish here, and it stayed bearish the whole time, and the stock price just kept coming down. All right, so that was on the 23rd. This was another one I did on the 23rd. This was a second trade on the 23rd. This was on the IWM. This is on the Russell 2000. Okay, so here we are with this is about 12:30. Here's the current time frame momentum here. It's yellow and it's red. This is bearish. Now it goes to blue. It goes to blue right here. So I'm kind of waiting. I know that I want to take this long. I'm kind of waiting for a compression break, which I get right here. I get a compression break. That's what I've got this arrow pointed at. See the pink arrow? I get a compression break above the VWAP and the 15. They're very close together right here. So I can stay in this trade as long as this thing stays above the 15 EMA, which it continues to do. And you see that this has gone to blue, from red bit selling to blue buying. Institutions are buying. Here's the green, which is this. This is the institutions are in this the whole way. We take it right here and we run this thing up. Now it's not as big a run as we got in the SPY on this IWM, but it's still a nice trade. You can see this is where I get out right here when we started getting this red candle right here. But that was $150 profit per contract on that particular trade. That was on the 23rd as well. So I had these two on the 23rd, one for 280, one for 150. That's a lot of profit for one contract on the SPY and the IWM. But again, I played both of these indexes, traded them both. This was a Q trade. This was on 9/9. This was yesterday on 9/9. And this is a $110 profit per contract. If I look here, what I see is a couple of things here. We're breaking down below the VWAP. You see that? But right here on this line where it breaks, this is still green. I can't take this on a green color, but it goes to yellow right here. So this is okay to take it right here, but I actually didn't take it there. And the reason I didn't take it right there was because the white line that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast was this pivot point. I was waiting for this thing to break below the pivot point because a lot of times it'll bounce off of that. And that was too close for me to really try to take it, because if it come down here and bounce back up again, I could probably get a little profit, but the risk reward wasn't worth it. So I waited for the breakdown, and here it breaks right through the pivot point, coming off the 15 right here. So this is where I took the trade. You can see the pop out of the box to the downside, compression break. So I take it right here, and I ride this thing down. Now it's kind of riding sideways, compressing, but I'm staying red, and then it flushes down, and then I get a green candle here. So I exit the trade right here, even though it's still red. I exited the trade right there. $110 of profit, and not as much as the other ones, but still a pretty nice trade, a pretty quick trade. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles, so about 50 minutes on that trade. All right, so that was another one that we had on the 9th. This was also on the 9th. This was the 9th on the triple Qs. Let's take a look at what we see here. Well, we see that the current time frame momentum is blue and green, so we can see right now we don't even need a color change. We're already bullish. So what are we waiting for? Well, we're waiting for the stock price to come up above the VWAP. It's moving through the VWAP. It's above the 15 here, but it's moving through the VWAP. That's where I wanted to get it. As it went through the VWAP, but I entered right here on this candle as it broke through the VWAP. I took a trade right here, and it was above the VWAP. I wanted to stay above the VWAP. Everything stays green, so I can stay in the trade, and I ride it up, and I ride it up, and I ride it up. No, not a big move. These are fairly small candles, but out right here for $150 a contract on this one as well. And this was on the 9th as well. So this was on the 9th for 110. This was on the 9th for 150. Nice little trades, but I hope you can see how you're really just looking at the current time frame momentum, the VWAP, and the 15 EMA, looking for the breaks to the upside, to the downside, and all you're doing is looking at the 3 different indexes to find out which is the best one to trade. And when they occur, you take them, and again, we call these out in the room when we see them. Got a lot of people trading these on their own now and doing really, really well. This was a SPY trade right here. This was on 9/4. This was a little out of sequence here, but this was a SPY trade on 9/4. And here we are with the current time frame momentum: bearish, bullish, bullish, bearish. Right here, bearish. Okay, see, so how it went bearish right here on this candle? You see this breakdown right here? It broke down here, but I didn't take it here because it lined up with green. But this candle went yellow. So now I knew I had a break, and I took it here. I probably shouldn't have because I got this pivot point here, but I did take it here because I thought there was probably enough downside momentum to at least carry me to the profit. And I obviously watched it when I get there, but again, I took it here and it zipped right through the pivot point. Didn't even hesitate at the pivot point. Came down pretty hard. Came down pretty hard, and then I could see it's losing momentum here. So I get out of it right here on this candle. $190 a contract. That's a pretty big drop. Those are pretty big candles. $190 a contract right there. You notice everything's staying red. And you see how it went to blue here? Switch from red to blue. If you were in the trade there, you definitely want to be out when it switched back to bullish again. But that's where I get out of the trade. So that was good for about $190 profit. All right, so this is the SPY super system. You're basically using the current time frame momentum on the compass system. Just the colors tell you whether it's bearish or bullish. In other words, are the institutions in there or not? This is telling us the institutions are selling, the institutions are buying, the institutions go back to selling again. You see it goes selling, and then it goes red, which is even more selling. And you're just looking for that, the VWAP and the 15 EMA, those become your support and resistance levels to use, and that's all you need to do to find these. And a lot of times you got to wait for them. Sometimes you can go through a half a day, 3/4 of a day, and not even get a good setup. It depends on the market. You're trading with a trending market. It's much easier to trade than a chop market. All right, so that's that. So again, this is the results of the SPY super system. I only started categorizing these in July. I've been doing them for a long time, but I introduced them to the room in July. So last half of July, we did 16-0, 16 trades, 16 wins, no losses. $2,000 invested in each trade produced $2,596 profit. Some of these are really small. Some of these are only $20, $30 a contract because it was choppy. But again, still $2,596. August, we got serious about it and we started taking a lot of trades. I was 49, 5, and 2, 49 wins, 5 losses, 2 scratches. 2,000 invested in each trade produced $8,200 in profit. In September, we're just kind of getting underway. We've only been trading 6 days, 16 and 3, 2,000 invested in each trade provided $2,075 in 6 days. One of the nice things about this is I have a lot of people that come into the room, join the room, but I'm trading all day, but they don't want to be there all day. They want to be in for a couple hours in the morning, or an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon. This allows you to come into the room, identify these SPY super system trades, trade them, make some money, and then leave and come back again later if you want. Because you're only going to have one trade on at a time. You're only going to have one of these SPY super systems traded at a time. And they're going to be very short duration for the most part, generally less than an hour. A lot of times only 5 or 6 candles, and you're going to be out. So I think I had one today that was just 3 candles long that I did $98 a contract on 3 candles today on the SPY to the downside. But that's the nice thing about this is if you come in the room and you join the room and you're a member, I'm going to be looking for them, but you can be looking for them because I keep the indexes up on the screen all day with the compass system. I have the compass system displayed on the screen for the members to see, and they can ask me to look at different stocks, etc. But I'm always looking at the indexes to see which one is the best one. I'm always looking at which one is up the most for the day and which one is down the most for the day. So that's the SPY super system. I think it's a great way to make some fairly quick money, as long as you're very methodical, you're disciplined, you wait for the setups. Don't try to force any setups. Wait for the setups. You need to be patient. All right. And I'll just drop this down for a minute. I want to show you. All right, so this is what the compass system looks like right here. This is my live screen right here. So this is the screen I would have up in the morning. This is the futures, by the way. This is tonight. This is the futures. This is live right now. You can see the colors here. You see how this changed right here? See this coming down. This is futures, but you see how it broke through the VWAP? right here on that candle with the pop out of the box symbol. See, it went from green to yellow. This would be an entry off of the SPY futures right here, breaking below the VWAP. You take it right here, and this is, I mean, this is live. I didn't even know about this, but this is the trade you would have taken. It stayed yellow and red. This is where you would get in. This is where you're going to get out. So that dropped from about 55.28 or 55.29 down to about 55.14. A pretty decent little move in the SPY futures here. That's basically what the SPY super system looks like. This is a live chart right now of the ES after hours, and but you can see the indicators are exactly what we looked at. So again, thanks very much for watching the video. I appreciate it, and hope to see some folks in the room in the future. Again, it's you have the alert service, you have the room. You don't get alerts on these because they're much too quick to do alerts on. I have to just mention them in the room, and people have to be either have the Compass system or watch my Compass system in the room to trade them. But we're having really good success with these. So I just kind of wanted to let folks know about that. I put out a few of these videos. I'll continue to do this as we have more and more trades. All right. So thanks again for listening. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing some folks in the Compass room.